Hello and welcome to the 30-second drill, where I like to say things and get proven wrong instantly, unless it's about the Buffalo Bills. And my colleague, Shane Campbell, seems to like some really crappy quarterbacks. How you doing, Shane?
I'm doing well, thanks. I don't like Mac
That's
Jones.
good, mate.
How are you?
Well, no, you like someone else who sucks. His name's Derek Carr. I'm great. We're going to go straight into it with my overreactions, which are always on the money. The 49ers getting Chase Young is going to land Chase Young a monster deal, unless he signed a deal that I'm not aware of. The Steelers and Browns are going nowhere, and they're going to be stuck in obscurity for a very long time with their quarterbacks. The Vikings have given themselves the same amount of chance of winning the Super Bowl by acquiring Josh Dobbs. We're off the Pats again. The Broncos are back. I don't believe that for 1 second. The Chiefs are crazy, not helping Mahomes more and getting some more wide receivers. And the Bengals, they're going to win the AFC, Shane.
I agree with that last comment. Pick them at the start of the year, or season even.
This is news to me.
Yes, I'll agree with what you said on the Chiefs, but I will speak about that during the game. And one thing you didn't mention is how good Australia's team, the Detroit Lions, are. Flying.
Just didn't talk about it because they were on the bye. They're just dominating. They didn't even play that well, but they just rolled it in, ran it down their throats.
Yes.
All right, let's start. Firstly, with the tips. You are on 76 and I'm on 73. So I clawed my way back and then coughed it up by picking teams like, who did I pick? The Colts or something. Let's move on to the Titans at the Steelers. The Titans coming off a 28-23 win over the Falcons, and the Steelers coming off a 20-10 loss against the Jags. Over to you, Shane.
With the Titans, Levis looked amazing last week, and he showed enough that he should be the starter for the remainder of the season. And now let's just see how he plays against an elite defense against the Steelers. Trubisky, he stinks. So say what you want about Kenny Pickett, he at least gave them a much better chance to win than Trubisky will. And Pickett is a game-time decision this week, and I'm hoping he's going to be able to play. I am taking the Steelers.
Fair enough. The Titans, they look to have a quarterback, and they are now interesting. So I'm really excited to watch what they do this week. As for the Steelers, I'm just going to kind of respond to you here. I mean, if being better than Trubisky is your metric of quality, I'm just going to challenge you to up your game a bit there. That's just me personally. I think they're pretty much the same team. They can win if their defense gets it done. It's got nothing to do with who's standing there at quarterback. They could probably have Mac Jones and have the same amount of chance. Having said all that, I'm taking the Steelers. Let's go to the Dolphins at the Chiefs in Germany. The Dolphins coming off a win 31-17 against the New England Patriots, who proved it was just a 1 week full trickery, I guess we'll call it. And the Chiefs losing to the Broncos 24-9. So the Dolphins, the last 2 times they've faced competition, they've been smacked in the mouth, and it's going to happen again. The Chiefs' defense is going to be too good for the Dolphins. And as for the Chiefs, we've been talking about their offense since week 1. Just because your quarterback is unbelievable doesn't mean you should just get some scraps and see what he can do. Get him another weapon, ease Kelsey's load. Do not do a New England Patriots with Tom Brady at the end of his career and just give him some absolute plebs and see what he can do. Get him some weapons, watch him thrive, be unstoppable. I'm taking the Chiefs.
I'll also take the Chiefs in this one, but I'll start with the Dolphins. This is their chance to establish themselves as the best team in the AFC. The Dolphins' 2 losses are the only time they've played teams above 500, so this is a real test for them. And their 6 wins are against teams with a combined 13-33 record. So a big contender or pretender game for the Dolphins now. Mahomes was sick in the days leading up to the game, so he gets a pass. The rest of the team do not. All we've really learned about the Chiefs is when Mahomes isn't Superman, the rest of the team just can't carry him across the line. So make a trade before the deadline, get a wide receiver. I am taking the Chiefs.
Seahawks at the Ravens. The Seahawks coming off a win over the Browns 24-20, and the Ravens coming off a 31-24 win over the feisty Cardinals. Over to you, bud.
Seahawks, they fight to the end, so you've got to give them credit for that. Gino, why is my clock at 15 seconds? Gino's play has regressed, but they keep winning. I don't think he's not going to do a lot at the end of the season, I don't think. He just looks like he's getting a bit worse, bad throws here and there. He'll need to have his best game of the season if the Seahawks are a chance to beat the Ravens. I'm tipping the Ravens. They don't look pretty, but you take the wins. Lamar had a solid game, no mistakes, And the O-line, they have to be better this week. All teams in the AFC North are above 500, so they can't afford any slip-ups. Ravens.
That was some sensational clockwork by me up there with Mike McCarthy. Just fantastic work. Seahawks, they keep continuing to impress me with how they just continually improve. I never saw them top of the division, and they're there now. Whether that's because the 49ers suddenly suck, doesn't matter. They've doubled down on what they're doing well by adding Leonard Williams to their defensive stock, which is just going to only improve them. As for the Ravens, the Cardinals are a cheeky team to play against, but the Ravens will take the win after previously losing games like this. If they slip up, the Bengals are coming, so they need to be near perfect going forward, and I'm taking the Ravens. Cardinals at the Browns. Cardinals coming off that loss against the Ravens, and the Browns coming off that loss against the Seahawks. As for the Cardinals, if Kyler comes back, I am really interested in this team, unfortunately, more so than I am interested in the Patriots. As for the Browns, this team is ridiculous in defense, but with their quarterback situation they have, even on a good day, they have the third best quarterback in division. So it's going to be a very long time before this team gets to where they want to go. But I am taking them to beat the Browns.
I
am taking the Browns to beat the Cardinals.
Okay, sure.
I was looking at the team I picked and just said them twice.
Rightio.
Over to you, buddy.
I agree with pretty much everything you said. I'm really hoping Kyler's back. And now with Dobbs gone, I don't know who else they've got, to be honest. Browns, they let a massive opportunity slip against the Seahawks, lost the game in the final minute, and that's going to really hurt them at the end of the season. The only weakness this team has is a QB, and it is a massive weakness. I'm picking them to bounce back, but the quarterback issue is a massive problem. Taking the Browns.
Let's move on to the Buccaneers at the Texans. The Buccaneers coming off one failed Hail Mary loss against the Bills 24-18, and the Texans losing to the previously winless Panthers 15-13 in what some would say was only the second worst game of the week. Over to you, bud.
Don't have a lot on this game. Buccaneers should have been blown out, but they showed a lot of character to stay in the game. 3 losses in a row. It's about to be 4. Texans, that's an unforgivable loss. Defense played well, but that was it. Massive missed opportunity. I'm taking the Texans to bounce back.
Nice. Real snappy 14 seconds from you. I like it. Less talking, more time for me. Bucks falling back to becoming who they are. They had a chance against the Bills, and that's because of no one else but McDermott. It's not because Baker's amazing. He does have a cannon, and I can't remember who it was, but if they turned around a little bit quicker, they probably would have beaten the Bills.
Godwin.
But that's all McDermott. Seriously, it is. As for the Texans, this was a game they would have wanted to win. It would have been a quality mental win for Stroud, knowing he's beaten the number 1 pick. And now this game becomes a do not lose it. And I don't think they will. I think they're going to beat the Bucks. I'm taking the Texans. That was a real word vomit of crap.
It was. Not your best work.
Nah. Rarely is. Now on to the Bears at the Saints. The Bears coming off another loss, 30-13 to the Chargers, and the Saints coming off a victory, 38-27 over the Colts. You kick this one off, mate.
Will do. For the Bears,
stop
talking. For the Bears, I hope Fields back because this team looks inept. The best thing to come out of this season for the Bears is being introduced to Badgen's dad, world champion arm wrestler, and he's more entertaining than this entire franchise. The Saints, they're the best team in the division, and they have the best quarterback in the division. I don't care what you say. He's better than the rest of the plebs, and he's only going to get better now that he's figuring out the system. 12-5 is still on. Called it. If they don't win the NFC South, this is an absolute embarrassment. I'm taking the Saints.
They are an absolute embarrassment, mate. I had nothing to say on the Bears, so I'm just going to go. You're right about whatever his name, the dad. You're right about Dad. He's quality, unlike the Bears. Derek Carr's not the best quarterback in the division. Are you talking about Taysom Hill? Derek Carr's completion percentage for the top 20 quarterbacks for yardage is better than only Baker's, Stroud's, and Stafford's. Stafford's a known gunslinger. Baker has more touchdowns than him, and it's Baker. And Stroud's a rookie. Carr has an abundance of weapons, and he stinks, mate. Taking the Saints.
Stroud's not in that division, mate.
What's that got to do with anything?
Keep bringing up Stroud. We're talking about the NFC South.
I talked about the top 20 quarterbacks for yardage.
Okay, well, I have no concern about
It had
Carr and
nothing to do
Stroud.
with division that point.
Mine did. That's all I said.
Yeah,
And he's better
and
than
I
me.
slayed you, mate, and you didn't listen.
Why would I?
Listen!
No. Hurry up.
Moving on to the Vikings and the Falcons. Hopefully you'll listen this
I
time.
won't.
Vikings coming off a 24-10 win against the Packers, and the Falcons losing to the Titans 28-23. Cousins is injured, and they've replaced him with Josh Dobbs. It's a huge step back, but it still makes them the second best team in division, which is what they were. The Falcons at 4-4 seems right. Much like the Saints, they're stuck until they improve their quarterback situation. Unlike the Saints, they're not overpaying for a cruddy veteran, so they're in a much better position. I am taking the Falcons.
Cousins was in career best form, so it's a real shame about the Achilles injury. I don't know if they're done. It was a good trade, so we'll see how they go. Maybe a playoff threat. Who knows? Falcons, they'd definitely be the best team in division if they had Derek Carr. Ritter or Heineke, it doesn't really matter who is playing. The Falcons aren't going anywhere this year. They should look for a veteran QB next season, potentially someone like Derek Carr, because the rest of the team is good enough to win this cruddy division, taking the Vikings.
Well, Derek Carr will probably be available, mate. He'll probably be cut.
Big
Moving
upgrade.
on to the Rams at the Packers. The Rams coming off a massive loss to the Cowboys, 43-20, and the Packers coming off a loss to the Vikings, 24-10. Over to you.
This game's going to suck, and I really hope the Rams trade Aaron Donald before the trade deadline, just to mix it up a bit. Stafford is day-to-day, and the backups look terrible. And this could be another punt fest that we experienced last week. Packers, Love misses the easiest throws. He is not good at all. They can't score a touchdown in the first half, and this team's a real contender for the number one pick. I'm taking the Rams.
I don't have much to say about this game. Rams will win. Packers suck. Love isn't the dude. They just need to hope other teams win some games so they can get Caleb Williams. Then they're going to look like they're geniuses. I believe some handsome dude told them to do this in week one. Yeah, it was me. I'm taking the Rams.
Okay.
Moving on to the Commanders and the previously 1 week good pay. I've stuffed this.
They're playing as well as your English. No, I'm leaving it in.
I've swiped. You may not. The Commanders at the lowly New England Patriots, who were just good for 1 week. The Commanders coming off a 38-31 loss to the Eagles, and the Patriots coming off a 31-17 loss to the Dolphins. The Commanders have given the Eagles a run for their money twice, which is nice for them. As for the Patriots, well, that was fun. I'm very happy that they got a win over the Bills. That was really enjoyable for me. I'm taking the Patriots.
Okay. Commanders, they play really well in the trenches, and they will stop whatever run game that the Patriots have, which isn't much. And because Mac can't throw the ball more than 15 yards down the field, I'm taking the Commanders in this game. Patriots are injury depleted, their quarterback talent depleted, they're in last place in the AFC, and they're another contender for the number one pick. Commanders all the way for this one.
I don't think Caleb Williams would want to come to us.
No, I wouldn't either.
Colts at Panthers. Colts coming off an embarrassing loss to the Saints and their terrible quarterback, 38-27. The Panthers coming off their first win of the season, 15-13 over the Texans. Over to you, man.
The Colts ran the ball really well, and that was it. They've got no pass rush, no explosive pass game. They only had one pass of more than 20 yards the entire game. Panthers, Patriots over the next 2 weeks, and then it's most likely they'll finish with 7 losses. This week, Panthers, well done on the first win. Hopefully there are a few more so the Bears don't get your number one pick. And Young has some of the worst offensive skill players to throw to in the league, so I'm not expecting much from them, taking the Colts.
The Colts, this is going to be their fate for the rest of the season. It's unsustainable with Minshew, but it is what it is for them. So it sucks because they looked pretty frisky with Richardson. The Panthers, they're finally off the board. We haven't really talked positive about this team. And today won't be any different from me. If you move up to take a quarterback, you need to surround him with some talent. So do better, Carolina. But I'm taking you this week. Go Panthers. Moving on to the Giants at the Raiders. The Giants coming off a loss 13-10 against the Jets, which was just so boring. And the Raiders coming off a 26-14 loss to the Lions. Giants, you suck. Raiders, you suck too. I'm taking the Raiders. Over to you, buddy.
Giants, that's the worst game I've ever seen a team play, including teams that have been shut out before. I feel so bad for Saquon. Hopefully he somehow finds his way out at the end of this year. The Raiders, I don't think Jimmy G is going to be a starter in the league next season. I hope Max Crosby also gets traded to a contender before the trade deadline, and Josh McDaniels is the offensive version of Brendan Staley. I said it, I meant it, I stand by it, but I'm taking the Raiders.
That is a great call. Moving on to the Cowboys at the Eagles. The Cowboys coming off that thumping over the Rams 43-20, and the Eagles coming off that win over the Commanders 38-21. Over to you.
I said it before, the Cowboys are the biggest front runners in the league. In their 6 wins, they've only trailed for 4 minutes combined. When they fall behind, the Cowboys are a much different team. Dak and CD Lamb will have to have another massive game if they're to stand a chance against the Eagles. The Eagles, they're winning ugly, which is a sign of a good team. Hurts looks hurt. His knee is causing him some issues, so they'll need to rely heavily on former Australia's team running back, DeAndre Swift, if they're going to... Yeah, they'll win this game regardless. AJ Brown should also be in the MVP discussion with Tyreek Hill, taking the Eagles.
The Cowboys, front runners, downhill scares, going downhill, whatever you want to call them. They are enjoyable to watch with a lead, but Dak can't throw them the victory if they're losing, and that is their fate. As for the Eagles, I really like Philly and Jalen Hurts. They're super tough, super impressive. It appears that he's hurt. He says he's not. They'll beat the Cowboys, and it's going to be awesome. Throwing, rushing, tush pushing, they do it all. Eagles for the win. Drop some tush push in.
It's brotherly shove.
Well, tush push sounds better.
Not.
Moving on to the Bills at the Bengals. The Bills coming off the 24-18 win over the Bucks, and the Bengals coming off a 31-17 win over the 49ers. Only the Bills could have scared themselves after how dominant they were, and they did scare themselves against the Bucks, but that doesn't matter because Joe Burrow is back and he's going to systematically tear through teams. Their challenges are the Ravens, Jags, and Chiefs. Sorry, I wrote the wrong team. The challenges are the Ravens, Jags, and Chiefs. That's right. This game, it's not a challenge. This is another instance where I'm right on the Bills because they suck. The Bengals are going to take the win.
The Bills, they just cannot put teams away. So I can't see them putting away the red-hot Bengals at all this week. Josh Allen played great against the Bucks. The last 5 weeks, the Bills have gone win, loss, win, loss, win. So it's time for another loss. Bengals, he's back. Yeah, the best game any QB's had all season last week. Bengals, we've only got one more loss than the AFC number 1 seed. Just one loss behind that top seed. Everything's lining up for a strong run home, and I'm taking the Bengals.
Final game of the week. Oh my God, that's going to suck. The Chargers at the Jets. The Chargers coming off a win over the Bears 30-13, and the Jets coming off that boring victory 13-10 over the Giants. You can take this away. I'll figure out what to say in a minute.
Yeah, I don't really want to. Chargers, they're not going to win the division, and they're currently 12th in the AFC, so no confidence they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to sneak into the wild card spot. Herbert was great, but the Chargers couldn't even run the ball against the Bears, so they definitely will not run it this week. Jets, just here's some fun stats because they suck. So they won a punt off against the Giants. There was 24 punts, 24 first downs, 17 3 and outs for the game. They play every team close apart from one game, and I have no idea what to expect from them. I am taking the Chargers.
Look, I'm glad you looked into that Jets-Giants games because I did not. As for the Chargers, they still suck. They're not impressive. The longer they suck, the more I point the finger at everyone, and that includes Justin Herbert. As for the Jets are in a boring game. What a shock. It's like they're missing their quarterback or something. I'm not excited for this game. The Jets will probably win because Brandon Staley. Now,
Okay.
you can talk about the teams on the bye.
Will do. So, of course, we're going to start with the Australia's team, Detroit Lions. They dominated the game between the 25s in the first three quarters. Then they finally pushed into the end zone against the Raiders. Second seed in the NFC heading into the bye. So, it's good times ahead for Australia's team. Just really need to cut down those turnovers. The Broncos have finally found out a way to be competitive. They just have to play a team with a sick quarterback and win the turnover battle by 5. So, that's all they need to do. Jags, they've got the longest active win streak, so it's a really good time for the bye to set them up for a massive run home. Undefeated internationally, so good for them. They're going to chase down that 1 seed, I think. 49ers, they needed the bye. They need to get healthy. They need to fix the defense. Salah and D'Amico Ryans, over the past 3 or 4 or 5 years, they had this defense ready to go every week. Steve Wilkes does not. Purdy is definitely getting found out. So that acquisition of Chase Young will liven things up a bit, but I don't know what they're going to do with this defense. Over to you.
That's it for us. Again, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, 30-Second Drill. We are also on Spotify with the 30-Second Drill. What a shock with the name. Don't email us. We will not write back.
Unless it's for sponsorships and endorsements.
If you want to sponsor us, like our latest sponsor, Air. Thank you, Air, for everything you do. I'll see you next week, buddy.
See you, mate.